Yachts.
Hi, I'm Thorsten Schmidt, the owner of Sirius Yachts. Welcome to our little video. I'd like to show you around our boats and our company to give you an impression how our boats are built. We are here in the empty hull of a new Sirius 40, which will be launched in about 3 months from now. That's about the time we built on a boat, 3 to 4 months from this stage on. This boat just hit production about a week ago. We have prepared the rubbing strakes. We have already started with the shrouds, and we are now starting with the inner framework, which will be laminated into the boat. There are a few things which are special on our production here. First of all, as you can see, we have the deck and hull combined already, and this is done before we put the first bulkhead in, before we put any cable tubes in, so all the join is totally visible and it's laminated all the way through. So we are structural wise not talking of deck and hull anymore, it's one piece because it's all laminated together, and then only then we start with the interior. This is helped by the big roof opening which we have here, so we just not have only the companionway to bring things in, we can bring real big parts in and start to make it easier for us with the boat construction. A few things I like to point out here which are also special. First of all, we have 30 mil of divinyl cell foam in the top hull sides, which brings strength and insulation, and you might also be able to see these epoxy packages which you see here. This is a technique we use on all the hidden areas where parts are mounted. So these are the tracks for the Jenny, and these are the screws which attach the rubbing strakes. The good point on that is if you ever have a little damage on something or have to take something off, you don't need to cut anything away, you don't need to find the screws. You can simply screw it out and screw it back in the same position, because the nut and the attachment behind is not falling apart. Then there are a lot of strengthening parts in the deck and in the hull. There are metal plates where we put things through. This is full laminated footrail here where the cleats are screwed through. And yeah, it's everything what you see here is maybe about 2 or 3 times bigger than you would expect on other boats. So this, for example, is a cutout which we have here. That's a cutout from a 35, so a smaller boat than this one, from the engine compartment in the back. These are about 45 layers of laminate here with reinforced material in between. So it's all quite solid. This is due to the fact that we have a lot of customers who sail worldwide, but also our customers near to us here love to sail in Norway and in Sweden, and they hit rocks from time to time. That's pretty much normal, and normally no damage is done. This is also due to the solid construction. What you see here are foam parts. The first of them, there will be much more, a whole grid into the hull, which is strengthening the whole boat. This is all laminated, glass fibered into the boat. There will be beams on top here, cross beams, a skeleton which goes over the keel recess, which you see here. There's also a specialty of Sirius Yachts. We offer our boats with 6 to 7 different keel versions. So this here is a twin keel, which means we have 2 keels. This is about the majority of boats we build at the moment, 70% of them. It's easy for drying out, it reduces the draft, it makes the boat go places where others can't because of reduced draft, and this is where most customers go for. Well, next to the GRP, the wood which we see here is one of the main raw materials our boats are off. Even if they are GRP from the outside, we spend about 80–85% of our time working with wood and to do all the interior parts which you see in a boat. What we have here is a rest of a sapele tree. You can still see the round area here. This is the smallest dimension we get it. It's 65 millimeters. The overall length of the tree, of the usual part of the tree, is about 30 to 40 meters. That would be unmanageable for us here to handle. But the trick is we buy the whole tree, the whole lot, the whole length, and let it be cut it in lengths and in the dimensions we want to have it. It will be dried. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years until we can use it, but we get it in partitions, and as we do every little wooden part inside the boat ourselves, you find for about 12 to 14 boats all parts inside the boat out of the same tree. So it's definitely the same color, it's the same grain, it's the same structure, and this is one of the overall quality points in our boats. It's mainly the sapele mahogany at the moment for the interior. There are other choices, but this is what we like most at the moment. And we also have teak for the outside material, or some iroko, which is a very, very hard teak-like material, which is perfect for rubbing strakes, and that's what we do from it. So this is our little machine park here. This is the big wooden drums are cut it into smaller pieces outside, and then they go through the machines here and get to smaller parts which are used over there for the rest of the woodwork. So we are in the so-called bench room here. This is one part of the workshop, bench room, because we're working on benches here. These benches are all dedicated to the parts which are built here. So you will find all the materials which are used in this space here. So we have all the screws, we have all the machinery, we have all the attachment parts. There's an exhaust machine built into this table, and it's on wheels so that we can adapt to the space which we have here or don't have here. So this is one of the vacuum laminated parts we use in the boat. There are plenty, lots of different forms and models that makes the interior quite modern and nice and nothing to hurt yourself on. And this is a tool needed for that. So this gives the form. There's a vacuum back and with sticky tape underneath, and we place lots of layers which are thin enough to bend in this way, and they are topped with glue and then put under this back vacuum pump on top, and after the vacuum stays with the same pressure everywhere until the glue inside is dry, and then we can take out the part and use that for interior. We're in a different part of the wood workshop here. This is a navigation table which has been built here, and here we see also the laminated parts. These are quite complex parts. This here, for example, is one piece of wood which comes around here, goes around here, and there. It's all laminated out of lots of different layers and put together. It's a navigation table, chart table, hinged here. This is a flap. Normally here would be a metal push lock in there, but my guys didn't like it and I wasn't there that day, so they decided to make a little wooden knob themselves, which fits with the grain and fits into the table here. Here in a place where doors and bulkheads are produced. Doors and bulkheads go together with us because the wheel cutouts which we make out of the bulkheads will come back as a door into the bulkhead. This is made to match the grain of the bulkheads through the door out to the bulkhead again. The doors are quite substantial. We have 30 millimeter marine plywood here, and also the outside protection of the door is 6 millimeter, which will be glued on top here. These doors will be built into the bulkheads and will be attached with all the slots and door handles before we put the bulkheads into the boat. This is done because it's wood, and wood can always have 0.5 millimeter here and 0.5 millimeter there. So we fix the bulkheads with the doors in place into the boat, and then the bulkheads will be fixed into the boat, and if they are laminated, glass fibered into the boat, the doors come back out and come back here to wait for the finishing and varnishing before they finally get into the boat, and then they just slot in and everything clicks and all is fine. So we have some more complex parts here. These are parts of the settee. So you find your armrest of the settee here, and here it goes around the corner downstairs, and for that reason this goes around here as well. But it's also part of the galley. Here are lots of drawers inside and cables, because there will be microwave, and a recess for a stainless steel frame which holds the roof support which we have here. So these are quite complex parts of the boat which are prepared here to go into the boat. Well, there's a nice feel to all the woodwork here because it's all quite massive. Also our veneer which we use is at least 0.9 to 1.5 millimeters. So it's not necessary for us. We can work with 0.3 like normal today, but then you can't varnish and rework anything anymore. And we reckon that our boats might get 100 years old, and then you probably need to varnish and sand things again, and then it's good if you have more substantial veneer on top. So we're in a varnishing shop here. This is part of the carpentry. All the parts which we build come at one stage here, but just the smaller parts, because the big bulkheads and things are varnished inside the boat. Special thing here is that everything what you see here is varnished with a brush. It's not spray painted. If you are spray painting, then all the typical wooden pores which you have here will be a nightmare to spray because they all get bubbles. That's not so with a brush. If you paint with a brush, then you still have the full feeling of the wood. It's not a plastic covered surface which looks like wood. It's real wood and it feels like wood. It's a very strong underground varnish there, which is very hard wearing, and on top we use a kind of a beeswax product which gives a very smooth surface, and very important for us, the customer itself can rework it easily. If there's a little scratch, he just takes a little wax on a cloth, and after 40 minutes it's dry again, and it's the same surface like before. Well, this is a small rest of our Grp shop actually. Most of it is outsourced today, but we do some special parts here, like the rudder blades, which we don't trust others to do, and some substantial parts. So this, for example, is the underneath of the shrouds, which will be laminated into the boat. So this is about 15 kilos, which I have in my hand here, 70 millimeter massive laminate, which will be laminated with 20 millimeters more inside the hull, and then bolted through to have the rig attached and the strength filled into that. So these are the rudder stocks which are built into the rudders, into the halves which we've seen. They're also quite substantial. That's a very special alloy which will be wrapped in Grp to get a good attachment point, and then be laminated into the rudder halves. We can see that here as an example of the skeg. This is also a stainless steel part for the half skeg most of our boats have, and here we already see the wrapping of the roving around the metal parts, which will shrink onto the surface, and then this will be laminated into the half skegs, which we see here. The surfaces will be widened to have a good gluing surface. This will be all glued together, and after that we make a hole from the top, fill some expanding foam in it, and that makes it all watertight and very strong and solid build. So this is now a nearly finished rudder. The rudder stock is laminated and glued into the foam. It's foam filled, and the important parts are over laminated from the outside, like the fit here and the leading edge, to give more strength into it. And this is in total, it's quite a heavy part now, but a very substantial part. What we see here is a rudder for 40 twin keel. That's the reason we have this little foil on top here. This foil is made, if you dry out, that it doesn't spade into the ground, but gives the boat a little support in the back with this rudder plate which we have here. So we're a bit on in production here. It's also 40, but not the empty shell anymore. We're about 3 weeks in production here, and a lot of things are already done. A lot of things which are hidden afterwards. So we have the full floor frame, which is laminated into the hull, the side frames which are laminated into the hull, and we also recognize a few things which we have seen early on. This, for example, is the substantial block out of glass fiber which we have seen over there, which holds the shrouds or brings from the force from the rig through the shrouds into the hull, and this is laminated into the hull and connected to the big frame work which goes crosswise through the boat and over the keel. What we can see here are the bulkheads glass fibered into the hull. Every piece of wood which we put into the boat, which is touching the deck or the hull, is glass fibered into the hull to take all the strength. Also, you see the bulkheads are not varnished. This is due to the construction-wise gluing which we do between them, so they all work as framework inside the boat, and it's like a skeleton giving into the boat. It's not like other boats where it's just glued in with some Sikaflex into some gaps where they sit, but it's all single stand laminated glass fibered in to give all the strength, that no doors are opening or not opening anymore, that nothing is squeaking, that you have a very sustainable, stable boat. We are in our smallest model here, the Sirius 310. This is a boat which is due to be finished in about 2 weeks, and we will be. It's all finished underneath. It's still under protection, so here are some protectors to cover the woodwork, but it's still all the varnished surfaces underneath. All the ceilings are in, all the cabling is in, and we're about to fit all the last parts into the boat. Here's one of the building details we are especially proud of. All the ceilings we fit in are real wood, and they have a four-side fitting. It's a one-piece ceiling with a four-side fitting, which means all the gaps around here are exactly 1 millimeter. They go around all the areas here, and you have exactly one try. Even our best guys can only do that on good days. Well, here the stainless steel parts on the boat are fitted. They're all bespoke, they're all built for this very boat, and also they are very massive, so we have a big protection at the bow here, which is 8 millimeter. Goes under the waterline. If you bump into somewhere, you don't have a little ship coming out there. And well, the rest is for the rig, the two furlers which most of our boats have, the anchor which goes through the slot into the bow, and there's fitted the fixed guardrail, which will give good security and handhold when you are on board. Well, this is our technical workshop. We prepare all the technical parts here. It's more or less all built as plug and play. So we have a wall where all the electric for the navigation corner comes in and is screwed in one go, and then is connected to the rest of the boat. In the end, this is all labeled all the way through. So each and every cable has a label to what it belongs and what it is. They're all tinned copper cables, so even if you have some water ingress somewhere, you won't suffer on the copper cables varnishing by corrosion. All the labeling you'll find back in our owner's handbook. This is about 120 pages today. There are only 25 pages just alone for the electric and electronics, and there are the drawings for you to understand, easy explained, but also the real building drawings where the boat is built from, so that every technician can find his way around, and all the rest is all labeled and numbered so that everybody can find its way. This is our construction department here. Here all the 3D drawings are made. So we have all the boats with all the equipment, all the wiring, all the pipe work on 3D in a computer, and we can work with our customers on the special ideas. There's no boat which is exactly the same, and there's some quite strange ideas which customers have, and some special equipments they want to have, and we always have to find a way to incorporate that and to make it in a way that it's nice, and for that all the ports in a computer, so that we can play around and see if that really fits what the customer wants to have on board. So this is also part of the work preparation. So all the 3D drawings which we have there goes to 2D drawings. We have some documentation for each and every part which we built inside the boat, and all the measurements, all the tips for building it are on site, and then the guys are working the parts with it, and then they might find some small details where they think there's something missing or not absolutely clear, then they correct that, and then it goes back into the operation office here, and it will be changed here. And then for the next part, for the next boat in build, the map goes down with the right measurements and every details included. So here we have some cupboards for our customers. These are for the different projects, and as we have lots of customers who come from foreign countries or want to bring us things which they want to fit it into their boats. So we have here one cupboard from a customer from the UK who is all the cutlery and all the parts which we've already brought because he might come by airplane for the final takeover. Well, this is the third Sirius 40 we see today in production. It's already rolled out of the workshop because we have more natural light here and it's nice and summery outside. So this boat is nearly finished. It will be completed in about a week from now. So the cushions are already in place and being fixed, and a lot of things which we have seen early on are being seen here in a finished state. So we have the navigation corner here, which we've seen in a very production stage. We have the little knob here for the chart table, which comes out here. We have the drawers from the galley, which has a stainless steel support with a roof support on top here for the microwave in this case. Well, yeah, this is about how it looks when it's near to be finished. So only the last touches to be done now. Thank you for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed the tour through the yacht, and if you like to find out more about our company, about our products, or see more videos, have a look to our website. Hope to see you soon. Bye.